I had basically convinced myself that there wasn't any God. I hated everything. I don't care if you kill me, because I want to die anyway. My dad was very strict. He was abusive, and verbally and physically. Around 12 years old, I started getting into drugs and alcohol, and I got my first felony when I was 14 years old. As my addiction grew stronger, so did my criminal activity. I had gotten sentenced for some burglaries I committed. It sentenced me to 500 years in prison.
Often we see the same people over and over again. And like a while back, I asked a young man, how's your grandfather who was before me in court? How's your dad who was before me in court? And how are you doing as you're before me in court? That is generational.
I went to prison just very angry and very bitter. Ended up joining a prison gang and started doing all type of violence involved in the gang life. After 3 or 4 years of that type of behavior, the state decided that I was a security threat to the institution. They put me in solitary confinement. I spent the next 13 years of my life in solitary confinement. In 2005, when my dad passed away, it made me realize that my mom needed me and there might be something to live for. I began to try to teach myself how to deal with my issues. Nothing worked. The court sent me a letter and said that they were charging me with this crime I committed in prison, which means I was facing another life sentence. It was like a straw that broke the camel's back, you know. It just broke me down, and I cried out to God, and I said, if you're real, show me, because I can't do this anymore. That's when he came into my life. I met Jesus right there in solitary confinement cell. And his love shone in my heart, and he took all the anger, he took all the bitterness. I had an old Bible with half the pages torn out of it that I'd been using it to smoke cigarettes and marijuana while I was in prison. The only thing left was the New Testament. So I started reading it, and God just started making it come to life. I was just there by myself with God, and he was just teaching me the things I needed to do to get free.
I'm forgetting that which is behind me. I'm reaching to that which is before me. I press.
We had a faith-based dorm. They had Bishop Jake's services on there on Tuesday nights. In prison, it's real racially divided, you know. Everybody sticks with their own kind, basically. If they don't, they get ostracized. And so to have everyone sitting in a day room and watching Bishop Jakes preach, I mean, it just sort of brought us together, you know. During that time period, I had been telling the Lord, you know, if you want me to be in prison for the rest of my life, I'm gonna serve you no matter what. A couple months after that, they came to my cell with a piece of paper, and I opened it up and looked at it, and it had all 5 99-year sentences, said you made parole on every one of them. And so May 5th, 2015, I was released from prison. And it was the first time I hugged my mother in 15 years. It was really awesome. Cried like a baby. I mean, it was hard for me because I didn't have a program like Tori. I didn't know how to use a gas pump or send an email because I had been in prison for 20 years. I didn't even know how to use the internet. I still ain't on Facebook. God started showing me what he wanted me to do in my life was go back into prisons and give people hope.
One Sunday about 3 months ago, I was in Lone Oak, Texas, at a little bitty church called Lone Oak Community Church. And a great big guy stands up and he said, I have 5 99-year sentences, but I want to share a word from the Lord today. And he shared a scripture, shared a testimony. It was really powerful. And I thought, I wonder who that was.
The name is what got me Robert Newsom. I was like, I know that name. I kept thinking about it. That's when I told Pastor, I said, I think that's the judge who sentenced me.
Later that week, his preacher calls me and says, you remember the guy that stood up in front of the church, Ron Atkins? He thinks you're the judge that actually sent him to prison. I really didn't have any memory of it. So I checked the records and turned out that he actually did have 5 99-year sentences out of my court. Not only had I been the judge for his case, and it was a jury trial right in this courtroom we're in today, but 5 years before then, I'd actually been the prosecutor on Ron's cases when he went down for the first time. So the next time I saw Ron, I said, Ron, you okay? Because understand, a lot of people have bitterness toward judges, and they all don't respond to me very well. And Ron, I said, Ron, you okay? And he grabbed me and hugged me, and I knew that Ron was okay.
And he invited us to come to their home for prayer meetings on Tuesday night, and I've been going ever since.
Since then, he's been a part of my family's life.
God brought Judge Newsom into my life to be a father figure and a mentor. God showed us that in the very place you were sentenced to death, I'm going to bring you back to that same place, and I'm going to cause you to bring dead things to life. What the enemy meant for evil, God's redeeming it for good.
Well, I've seen this hundreds of times. When a person comes out of even probation, but especially prison, they've got so many barriers to success. We need something that reaches out to these individuals and say there is a better way, there is another path, and Torrey allows us to see that in a person's life.
Torrey's a place where they restore your humanity. They make you feel like you're not just a number anymore, and that you're a person, and that you're loved. I'm a great son, I'm a great husband, I'm a great employee, I am more.